if there was which trilogy would you rather be redone? The prequels,
Oh, this is a good question.
the originals, or the sequels?
This is a really good question. So, yeah, just to like start the
And
conversation.
how would you want them redone?
The first time I've contemplated this was my senior year of college, and my friend who was just getting into Star Wars for the
Are you
first
recording?
time. I am.
Nice, good.
My friend had never seen Star Wars, started watching them. This was the time when Star Wars was just purchased by Disney. Because they're making the sequels, but they're remaking all of these old Disney movies. Who's to say they don't remake the original Star Wars movies, which kind of fucked me up.
They definitely will.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think that they're gonna like hard remake, not just a reboot, but a remake?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, look, they've remade they've like live actioned every Disney cartoon.
Yeah,
that's,
they have.
like been out there.
And
Even
they've
in my
essentially-
lifetime, like
Yeah.
Lion King, like that came out in '94. I think that was like the first movie I saw in theaters.
And they've essentially
They'll definitely
remade
remake.
every comic book.
They'll wait. They'll time it out nicely. They'll wait.
Yeah, it'll be like 50 years.
20, 30 years.
Yeah, on the 100th
Maybe not even
anniversary.
in our lifetime, but they'll do it.
Wait, this totally messes me up. So do you think they would like change the plot of A New Hope? You think like the
No,
like,
I don't think they would need to. I mean, look at like how many like westerns they've remade. Like it's the same story. It's just they make it a little bit more, like
yeah.
Easier. I don't know, not easier, but like they give it more depth.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars.
They'll
like,
make it
for what it's worth is like it's a silly movie. It's a silly story.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Star Wars is silly, and it's
At least like the
whimsical. There's a lot of I think that's
original movies.
definitely. I think they're all whimsical. They're all goofy, and that's the charm.
No, I mean like the 9 movies that like the blockbuster 9 movies are all like that same like just
they're silly.
they're having fun.
They're silly. A lot of people take Star Wars seriously, which is good. I take Star Wars seriously. I look at the stories. I get excited about them, but they definitely they're 100%. This is the word you have to use. Campy.
They're campy, exactly.
They're so campy. They make no sense. You watch them, and this is why my dad hates them. This is why a lot of people hate them, because they're goofball movies.
Yeah, they're silly, but there's a huge following behind it, and there's a huge like universe behind those 9 movies that people actually dive deeper into, and like take like darker liberties with it, and they enjoy.
You get the comic books that dive into certain characters. You get the
more
Clone
character
Wars,
building.
even though
There's
they're
a lot
cartoons.
of world building.
You get some darker storylines. You read the novels. It's all about the psychology. You get to get in the minds of all the different characters. So okay, if we're taking this prompt and we're gonna run with it, that Disney is gonna remake the original trilogy of Star Wars.
Well, Amazon. Let's say Amazon's going to remake, because Amazon
you think
is
Amazon's
eventually going to buy Disney, so...
Okay. Okay, so... okay, so, like... I'll hit you with this. Will Luke and Leia kiss in A New Hope? Because that's... Would you say that's essential to the plot?
I mean, I guess you could go either way.
It kind of is. I mean, I feel like it
because
does.
it's like you don't know that they're brother and sister when they are first introduced,
and it triggers Han into liking Leia.
That's true.
I was kidding, but that's actually what it does.
Because they kiss twice.
She smooches him on the cheek. She goes, "Get better, Luke," and then looks at Han, and then Han goes,
"No, but they kiss in the
You
New
mofo."
Hope.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And then
I'm thinking of
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
They kiss twice.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, let's go back to the original prompt.
Well, no, I think we should let's dive into this, because if
let's do it.
If they're kissing,
I can also edit stuff. So
if they're kissing in the 4th movie and 5th movie, when in that storyline is it introduced? How are we laying out the timeline here? Are we going to start with Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and go through, or are we going to do it backwards like Lucas did?
Okay,
or is it going to be chopped up here and there, like a little flashback? Like,
I think what they should do.
forth.
I think what you could do. So okay, I'm like honestly thinking about it right now.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna remake the trilogies, what you got to do, it's got to be a trilogy. That's Star Wars. I feel like the trilogy is Star Wars. I watch these one-off TV shows. I mean, The Mandalorian is amazing, but the trilogy episode, I think, is a core element of Star Wars, at least history. Star Wars history.
For sure. For
Right?
sure. I think if you were going to do it in like a 10-season show, it would just be like a cop-out. Like, you have to do it in these like
it's gotta be epic.
blockbuster
Sweeping
like, episodes.
So I think
Moments.
I think most things would line up. Like if you're gonna remake Star Wars as a whole, you could do it in a couple different ways. Maybe just bring it down to just 6 movies total, and you have 2 trilogies. But if you are gonna remake, we're talking about the original trilogy, the OT. I think what you'd have to do is just optimize everything, right? Knowing what we know happens in the prequels, we need to line things up aesthetically, right? The visuals, the costumes, the lore needs to line up properly with what we know in the prequels. Because that I think that's a big problem for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people just enjoy that because it's like, again, going back to calling Star Wars campy, it doesn't quite make sense, and there's some charm to it. Feels homemade, even though it's like a huge production, right? It does feel homemade.
Right.
So I think you gotta line up and get your cards in order and make everything feel continuous. And I think Luke and Leia should be younger. I think Luke and Leia should not be what looks like to me like 25-year-old. I think they're supposed to be 18.
Right.
They look like 25. Teenagers. Yeah, I think they should be like 15.
Like kids, like actual children.
Yeah, maybe a little bit older than Anakin in a new in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
But not like a child, but
like adolescent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe yeah.
So you're thinking that they just do the original trilogy redone.
Yeah, let's roll with that. So would they remake Darth Vader? Because they kind of did that with. I mean, they didn't do that. I think Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, is a completely new character with a ton of merit. You know, I think it's a great character.
He's trying to become what Darth Vader was, but never actually accomplishes that.
Yeah, which makes sense in a meta sense for us viewers watching, but then also as the son of any great athlete.
Yeah, right? Living up to something that you can never, like, just trying to achieve something you'll never attain.
And it's possible, but the pressure is immense, and I think that's something that most kids growing up deal with. I certainly do, right? Like, my father has done his own things in his life.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an identity crisis.
Yeah, you look at what he's done, you look at what other people have done, and you start, anyways, so Kylo Ren is a great character. Kylo Ren is somewhat of a reboot of Darth Vader, but if you had to remake Darth Vader,
how would you do that?
Yeah, I feel
Could
like
you do that?
Yeah, if Darth Vader was created in the prequel era, I think Darth Vader would look more like General Grievous. I feel like General Grievous is truly more machine than man.
Well, yeah, I think General Grievous was supposed to be that like a foreshadow of Darth Vader. I mean, I think they introduced him way too late in the game.
That's a really good point.
They introduced him like within the same movie that Darth Vader became Darth Vader.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Had they introduced him years later or years earlier, they would be, there's this powerful force in the universe, in the galaxy that like is more machine than man, but he fucks shit up. But wait a second.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what Vader becomes.
Yeah, absolutely. I never thought about that, but you're absolutely right.
Oh, really?
The first character, I
realized that when I was like 13.
No, I never noticed that. I never saw. So like in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin fights his master, right? There's tons of metaphors there. But before that, I guess it's Dooku. Is it Dooku? No, he fights. So. Yeah.
They fight. Obi-Wan and Anakin fight Dooku in.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
And then Anakin and Obi-Wan fight in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So as soon as we open up the movie, the first lightsaber battle is Anakin, who we all know eventually becomes Darth Vader, is fighting
Dooku.
No, he fights Grievous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he fights Grievous.
Right.
Yeah, he fights Grievous, which is essentially him looking at what his future is going to become. And for him to make that happen, he has to kill someone. Anakin decapitates Count Dooku. That's how it all strings together.
Rolling.
Guys, I love Star Wars. I never know. That's a great detail. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, of course, man.
All right. Maybe we'll hop off of this, make that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, that's only 11 minutes.
Well, so here's where I would come. Here's what I would envision. Like remaking the prequels, because I think the original trilogy is sacred ground. You kind of shouldn't do anything.
But that's subjective.
It is, but this is where I'm sitting.
Okay,
I think,
I'm sitting there too.
It's like you said, like it's campy. It seems homemade, but it was for its time a huge production.
Yeah.
And it was like, that is what started it all.
It's groundbreaking.
People loved it. They will love it forever.
Yeah, it's essential.
The prequels were when I was like the most interested in Star Wars, I loved them as a kid. But I look back at them now and like I see all they were for like all the flaws that they had.
Yeah.
And I also see the potential that it could have had.
Yeah.
They introduced Anakin way too young.
Yep.
They should have brought him in right away as a Jedi. Maybe make, like, I know there are people out there, including you, that love Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah,
and
Qui-Gon.
I'm a huge Liam Neeson fan. Nothing against him.
Yeah,
I think that if they had if they started that trilogy with Anakin as Obi-Wan and then Obi-Wan as Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Like, he's already in training. He's already, like, questioning, like, the Jedi Order. There's some backstory there about, you know, there's slavery in the galaxy. There's, like, child soldiers in the galaxy.
Yeah.
There are flaws, and he's questioning all of that throughout the entire trilogy. And at the end, he finally reaches this moment of duality where, like, I have to make a decision. I have to make a decision.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more details to fill in there, but we can do that later on. But I think that would be a awesome remake to do the prequels.
That's a great idea. I think what the prequels lack is the connection between and the brotherhood, the friendship, the mentorship between Obi-Wan and his Padawan Anakin.
Yeah.
They're truly brothers. They're truly father and son, right? Obi-Wan was his father.
Exactly.
And his brother, and his mentor, and his master.
And those movies just lack that. They're always at odds with one another throughout the entire thing, and it's no wonder they parted ways at the end.
They don't meet until the very end of Phantom Menace.
There's not a whole lot of love to begin with, which I think is a necessary part of that story. Yeah. They need to, like, actually have, like, struggled together and, like, you know, work together and
you should see the ups and the downs.
This relationship.
There's a moment in Revenge of the Sith, right after the battle intro. This is after Dooku falls. They've just landed the ship, and Obi-Wan says something like that. You know, he makes a reference. Obi-Wan makes a reference to Anakin about a time that they fought together, and there was some courtship there and some brotherhood. That's a clear example of something that I would have loved to see.
Yeah, they make a lot of references to things that they've done together. However,
which maybe existed in the Clone Wars.
Yes, and I think I was going to say the Clone Wars does do a lot of character building and world building for that prequel trilogy. However, it's a little too late in the game because between the last two movies,
Clone Wars should be supplemental.
Right.
The prequel trilogy should not rely
on that to fill in the gaps. I agree 100%. Yeah, well, I think I don't know.
So what if we were to remake the what if we were to remake the sequel trilogy? I think a lot of people maybe listening to this have their opinions on whether or not they
that is without a doubt a necessity to do because they sucked.
Yeah, I think there was.
No, you can edit me out on that one.
No, it's fine. If you don't have to like them. Personally, I am split. I think there was no vision for the trilogy, which I blindly went along and believed everyone in the production, who said that the sequels were, that there was a vision for the sequels. There was no vision. It was every director had their chance to add something new, which there's some merit to that. I think it's good to get new people on team, for sure. On the team to add and really inspire new
Just some new
creations.
perspective, new ideas, new
That's all
imagery.
great things. I think there definitely should have been some sort of overarching plot that should have been like ingrained in the whole entire trilogy.
Which I think those three movies lacked.
Yeah. So I think The Force Awakens it's really good. It's a little it plays
That
it,
was
plays
that
it
was
a little
great
bit safe.
movie. I loved The Force Awakens. However, the last two movies ruined The Force Awakens for me.
Okay, maybe they ruined The Force Awakens. I actually like The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is actually a movie of Star Wars that I actually go back to quite a bit, and there's some parts of it that I skip past because I can do that on Disney Plus. I can skip past parts that I don't like very very easily. But
does that make a good movie if you're skipping past parts you don't
no,
like?
but there's parts in The Last Jedi that are better, that are the best that Star Wars has ever offered. It's up there with this. It's up there with the finale of the Mandalorian.
Cinematically and just the imagery and just like
Even the
I
characters.
think it's really
even
cool
the characters.
when like
People don't like Rey. But I think every single scene where Rey and Kylo are having force, what are they called? Force backs, force touches.
right.
Where she feels
they're seeing each other,
Yeah.
feeling each other.
he feels the rain on his mask that
Yeah.
has been transferred through the Force energy. I think that is one of the coolest concepts.
Yeah,
and their
I
whole
totally
relationship
agree.
is beautiful. Their
I
relationship
agree.
is beautiful.
I agree with you. And I think going back to
Yeah.
the sunken Death Star in
Yeah.
that ocean
Yeah.
or lake, whatever
Yeah.
it is really cool and really nostalgic. And that even in The Force Awakens when Rey is like climbing through a Star Destroyer.
It's cool. You can see
It's
see
so
the
cool.
history that is you can see the history that we grew up with as viewers.
Yeah.
But then also as these characters have suffered through.
And I wish there was not necessarily more of that, but like more significance to that.
Yeah, it
And,
does feel
like,
hollow.
yeah.
We don't need to. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
there
yeah.
just to be there.
Yeah, I think every time I see the battle between the battle between Ben Solo and Rey Skywalker, that feels funny saying. Every time I see that battle on the Death Star, the sunken Death Star on the moon or the planet of Endor, is it the planet of Endor?
Yeah.
In the raging ocean, all I think back to is Obi-Wan and Anakin on Mustafar. And it starts with fire, it ends with water, right? That's balance.
That's
balance.
And I think I would need to go and watch the sequels trilogy again just to pick up on those little nuances and the imageries and just like kind of realize the lore that's actually there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
But if I were to change anything in the sequel trilogy, it would definitely be an overarching plot. And also, I mean, the longer you live with these movies, you start, what is it called, where like you get used to your captor? Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, totally.
The longer I sit with these movies, the more I start to enjoy, or maybe get used to, or
yeah, I guess that's
just
true.
kind
The
of
more
get.
you watch it, the more you can appreciate things. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's true for any film.
But I don't think I don't like the Emperor being in there, and I don't like Rey being a Palpatine. I don't like Rey being a Skywalker. It feels weird. It just feels weird. I feel like, and maybe this is my bias. Maybe I'm the original trilogy boomer who's upset at the prequels, or the boomer who's upset with you know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up with the prequels. That lore was established.
I agree with you there.
There's something new that's added in.
Why? Like I
doesn't-
think Rey being her own character, as they alluded to in The Last Jedi,
Yeah.
where she came from nothing. She was nobody.
Yeah, which is
Why
fine.
can't that be enough? Because
I like that,
when you
yeah.
watch A New Hope, that's all Luke Skywalker is.
Yeah.
He's nobody. He's
Yeah.
just an orphan on this desert planet who becomes a Jedi.
So people always talk about the broom boy in The Last Jedi, and I always saw Rey as a broom boy. I thought Rey was the nobody, quote unquote nobody, who was gonna take the legacy of the Skywalkers and bring it forward. She essentially did, but they gave her the name. They made her connected to Palpatine, and there are some nice elements there that you can look into. But personally, I always thought she's broom boy, she's broom girl, right?
Yeah.
So Rey is nobody the way myself and my co-host are nobodies. We're not Jedi. But when when put against the challenge, we can live up to right? Live up to the task.
Yeah, for sure.
We can give it our best.
And that's
Rey
inspiration.
Skywalker represents every single viewer, every single little kid watching. She can do it. She's there. She is the embodiment of the future. That's yeah.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think that's
we'll leave it at that.
very well put.